This is the Luberon, a picturesque part of southern France and a heavenly place if you're into anything that's grown, picked, or dug up. Kid's Eye View is digging for black gold in the south of France. Since the Luberon is known for its fields of beautiful lavender, grapes, olives, and of course, truffles. We pulled into the tiny village of Cadenet to discover the mysterious world of truffles. Deep in the hills of this beautiful place, we meet Johann and Lisa Pepin, the friendly owners of Les Postres, an organic farm, to take a truffle hunting tour. Johann and Lisa are famous in these parts, not only for their truffles and olive oil, but for their story. Lisa is a Midwestern All-American girl who met Johann when he was studying in the States. They married and gave up the big city life of Chicago to move back to France and take over the family farm.
When you first came here, what was the most surprising thing that you didn't expect when you came here?
Well, after reading all the Peter Mayle books, I thought they would have been more accustomed to foreigners than they were. When I first arrived, I heard from our British neighbors that they were actually betting on me down at the bar. The guys who hang out there and play boule every Friday were saying, oh, we hear that the Pepin's grandson is moving back and he's bringing his American wife from Chicago who doesn't speak a word of French. I give her 3 months.
Oh my God.
And the other guy, no, I give her 6. So it's nice to know after 11 years that the guys who believed in me made a little money at the expense of those who didn't.
Exactly. Those who had faith.
But you wouldn't think that, after all of the Americans and all of the Brits and, just foreigners from around the world, you would think that being an American, a foreigner in a small town wouldn't be such a big deal. But it really still is.
As we're about to find out, truffles are big business.
How much per kilo do you sell the truffle for in this area?
During the season, the highest moment is Christmas, New Year's Eve, because everyone wants truffles.
Right.
And it could go above €1,000 if it was a dry summer, because that's when the truffles go growing. So if you have a dry summer, you don't get any truffle in the winter, so they're rare. High demand, low offer, so it gets very expensive.
Yeah.
Then for the rest of the year, it can vary from €600 to €800, but I'm telling you, like producer price. If you go to buy it some other delicatessen shops or whatever, you can add, a couple of hundreds on top of that. But that's so. You'll see with the dogs, if you have very good dogs and you do have truffle on your property, making a kilo of truffle takes less than an hour of work, definitely.
Right.
So you can make 1,000 in an hour. So when you know that the average salary around here are between 1,000 and 1,500. You can see the idea of people going to steal truffle, because with 1 hour, 2 hours work, you can make as much as a month of work.
In France, truffles are sold by the kilogram. 1 kilogram is equal to about 2.2 pounds in the U.S. And sometimes sellers will do some sneaky things just to add more weight to your purchase.
To look at it, look into the cavities to see there's not rocks have been added into it. So,
That's sneaky.
Well, yeah, I could add 10 grams, that's €10, boom.
Right.
Just putting a tiny rock here and there. So there is a glamour side that we'll eventually see today.
Right.
And there's a very dark side that you won't see, but you'll hear about it.
Right.
So people getting shot, people stealing, poisoning, stealing dogs, cutting trees, stealing trees.
Okay.
All of that happens. So
Which reminded me of something Johann told me earlier in the day.
Right. Yeah,
it's kind of like the gold mine. It's like, we have a gold mine, but just they don't tell you where it is. And same thing with truffle. You don't tell anyone about truffle. Basically in the south of France, you don't tell anyone about anything.
Right. That's what I'm learning.
No mushrooms, or hunting, or fishing, anything's outdoorsy. You don't tell anyone.
Back in the Luberon, if we're going to dig up some tasty truffles, we need a truffle hunter and a couple of good noses attached to some enthusiastic dogs.
Smile.
Expecting a few hounds, perhaps? Nope. We need sniffers much closer to the ground and specially trained. Meet Papoose and Mirabelle.
Who's the mother? And she's 9 going 10, and Mirabelle, who's the daughter, and she's 4 going 5. And it's always good to have 2 dogs because they don't always work in the same temperature environment. It's good to have two. And Mirabelle is going to have a puppy this winter. So she's going to be a third generation of truffle hunters going on. And you'll see when we go truffle hunting, Pupus, she's old, but she's wise. So she saves her energy for finding the truffle and getting the treats. While Mirabelle is still a bit wild and she goes around and runs a lot. Or sometimes doesn't hunt at all. So,
this is Jean-Marc, our local truffle hunter. He doesn't speak much English, but he knows all the key words to finding truffles.
Dog, c'est dire dog.
Dog.
Et fly.
Et fly.
Et mouche.
Et pig.
Pig. Pig also, it's a cochon. So he knows the three kind of way to hunt for truffles. Fly, dog, pig.
We get some proper footwear. Then our team heads out to get a little background on why truffles are so hard to find and so valuable. First, Johan gives us a crash course in growing
so the criteria,
them.
that's what makes it so difficult to grow, is that you need the right amount of acidity in the soil. You need the right amount of light, because it's a mushroom, but it loves heat. And like a day like today, it's really happy for winter truffle. But it needs rain from time to time, so that's why we get those storms from here and there in the summer, and that's really important. But it doesn't like too much water, so it needs drainage. And it likes also a lot of a mix of clay, limestone, and loam, and a lot of light. So when you have all those 6 criteria together, you eventually get truffles after 8 to 10 years.
8 to 10 years?
Yes, because when you plant a tree, like you'll see later on, you have to wait 8 to 10 years to find out if you have truffles or not.
Oh my gosh.
Coming up, we learn how these little pooches were trained and put their nostrils to the test. All we need to train these expert truffle hunters is a tennis ball, some cookies, and a little patience.
More about the training. So the way the training is done is that Jean-Marc, when they're little puppies, they're like two months old, he would put a real truffle inside a tennis ball so they can play with it. They get used to the smell of a truffle in that tennis ball and they understand they can play with it. And after a while, Jean-Marc will hide the tennis ball behind the chair. You find the tennis ball, you get a cookie. Oh, so they like that. So they hide it behind the couch. You get a tennis ball, you get a cookie. Basically, they think they're getting a tennis ball, but what they're getting is the truffle. And then he hides it, farther. And then they go outside, and then he hides it outside, and so on and so forth. And then remove the tennis ball and just hide the truffle itself. You find it, you get a cookie. So when you go to an airport and you have those dogs sniffing for your bags to find like apples and bananas, same idea. They don't want to eat the bananas, they want to eat the treat. So that's how they were trained. So that's when you're going to find the truffle, you're going to see the first thing they want to do is look at Jean-Marc and say, give me a cookie. And the good thing about having small dogs is because their nose is always very close to the ground. So people sometimes expect to see a Labrador, which are very good dogs, because the best dogs are the dogs who want to make their master happy. So if they're like, oh, if I find this for him, he'll be very happy, he'll be my best friend. And then, no, but that's the same idea with those dogs, but they're very small, easy to carry around. And you see also, to be fair, is like when comes winter time, truffles are so expensive that sometimes the dogs, they go to get a bite just for the fun of it. And Jean-Marc will open their jaws and get the truffle out. Because, when you have like 40, 50, 60 euros, then you want to make sure that you get it worth, not let the dog eat it.
2 minutes into the hunt, and bingo, we've got our first truffle.
So you go. Now you can smell. Look, that's the inside. So smell right here. So what do you smell? You should, it's like
a rich,
do you get maybe like a hazelnut?
Yeah,
do you get that?
maybe like an almond.
Okay, that's good. That's good usually. Together.
And they're hot on the trail again.
And here you go. Whoa, and you got a big one too. All right, smell it. Make the dog smell it.
This mother-daughter team is really good.
That's why it's good to have 2 dogs, because they keep going. Then you push toward me. We'll do it together. Here we go. And that's your truffle.
When we come back, we'll weigh our stash and figure out what these little rocks are worth. After a few hours in the hot sun playing in the dirt, our dogs are tired. All of them. Papoose and Mirabelle did a great job finding us some truffles.
7 1, 13 grams. 8
Lisa shows us
Is
how to
12
turn these
grams.
clumps of dirt into something delicious.
Feel like rocks, but they actually have a lot going on inside. There's a really delicate moisture balance. And if you were to take all of these truffles that you found today and put them in a Tupperware container in the refrigerator overnight, the top would just be completely covered with condensation the next day. So you don't want to add any moisture during the cleaning process, which is why you use a brush. You don't have to use one this cute. You can just use a regular mushroom brush or even a toothbrush, but a new one. This is just shaved truffles on salted butter on toast. And this is a really good way to experience truffles for the first time because these thin slices really engage all of your senses. They release the aroma. You can see all the beautiful marbling inside, and you can taste the light crispness in a way that you can't when it's mixed into a risotto or just...
You don't have to ask me twice. This is the best part of the tour. And you can even have truffles for dessert.
And this is a truffle-infused creme anglaise. You wouldn't think that a fungus would work with a dessert, but I think you'll find that it does.
It was a great day in the country. We learned a lot about truffles and what it's like to be a farmer in France. Now, it's time to bring all this back to Texas and start cultivating our own truffles. Rumor has it Texas is a lot like the south of France for growing things. If we start now, we can be enjoying our own homegrown truffles by the time we go to college.
Well, I know I'm not your neighbor, but you can call me friend.